Welcome everyone to the Express Entry Live Q&A. My name is Mark Holthe. I am the founder, I guess, of the Express Entry Law Facebook page and a Canadian immigration lawyer practicing in the beautiful province of Alberta. Many of you have probably had a chance to watch me on some of the previous videos here posted on the Express Entry Law Facebook page, but others may have listened to me on the Canadian Immigration Podcast, a podcast that I have been running for, almost a year, I guess now, and I invite guests from across the country to share the latest information on Canadian immigration law, policy, and practice. So that was my first love, the audio, and I'm still doing it, but this Facebook Live is fantastic. I love it. It's unbelievable the reach that can be achieved because of these Facebook Live videos. So I am going to just wait just a little bit and see if we're able to get a few live people coming on. I know that the 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time is not perfect for a lot of you. And my good friend Justin, who has been helping me with some of the marketing and promotional aspects of this group, this Facebook group, he indicated that 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning Mountain Standard Time are some of the times that are the best for people who are accessing this site, and as well the Canadian Immigration Podcast site, which that site, if you haven't been to it, the Canadian Immigration Podcast site gets over 20,000 people every month that come to visit it. And I can tell you, it's absolutely amazing how many people, how many members we have. Do you know what? I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to open up the Express Entry Law page and just take a look and see how many we currently sit at. And let's see here. Do you know what? Because this is always boring, I'm going to share my screen with you all. Okay, there we go. So let's see now. I'm just going to take a look at this. And it's probably a little bit weird for you looking at my screen. I'm going to enlarge it full screen. Okay, I think you can all see this now. All right, so let's take a look here. We're going to go into the discussions, and then I go over here. 16,364 members. This is absolutely incredible. And then we've got, 16 more people wanting to join. Who knows? Maybe they're waiting to try to get in to see this Facebook page. So let's approve everyone here. I'm talking faster than I can think here. Maybe some of these people want to join this this Facebook Live video right now, so we'll get them registered. All right, but that's phenomenal. Over 16,000 people. All right, I'm going to shrink this down, and I'm going to get back to the recording of just me here. But thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this. It's unbelievable to imagine that, at least for me, that there's so many of you that are a part of this group. And all I can say is thank you. Now I'm going to close out this window so it doesn't distract me. And this is one of the challenges. Soyab, welcome. I've got a thumbs up. Awesome. There is somebody watching this. Fantastic. Welcome. It's great to have you with us. Yeah, one of the challenges with these live videos is there's no editing. So this is right off the cuff. It's not perfect. It's not slick. There's going to be some glitches, and I'm going to be wandering all over the place, looking down at my screen and looking up at all of you. But thanks for being a part of this. Mirza, welcome. I've got another thumbs up. Awesome. I love that. So thanks so much for being here on this live video. All right, I want to go through just a few other things because I know a lot of you will be watching this in a recorded fashion. So bear with me as I go through some what I call housekeeping matters, things that I want to clarify and explain. Oh, we've got Gopi and Pavan as well. Welcome. All right, so right off the bat, just for some of you who are listening in for the first time, this Express Entry Live Q&A is designed specifically for that purpose, to give information, insight on Express Entry. It's not designed to answer all of your general Canadian immigration questions. And because I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer, obviously I make a living from answering people's specific questions, but this is designed to allow me to answer questions that I get so frequently, all the time, the same types of questions. And so I thought, why not just do a video and answer the questions so that everybody can benefit? And holy cow, if 16,000 people were listening to this video, that would be a tremendous reach for me. Imagine if I was trying to answer one by one every single person who was asking me the same question. So that's the purpose of this. Now up in the top here, you'll see this little EE Live Q&A. That is what you are to put into your question when you send it to me. And then I also forgot, I'm going to add in one last time my email address right there, which is the place that you're going to send it to. Now, remember, this EE Live Q&A right here has to go in the subject line of the email that you send here to my law firm email address. If you do not include this EE Live Q&A in there, here's what will happen. Well, first off, I won't know that it's meant for this video. And when I get unsolicited emails from my clients, I funnel them all through my wonderful assistant, Charlene. And more than likely, she will send you out an inquiry to see if you want to set up a consult with me. And some of you may just want a general question answered and won't want to set up a consult. But unless you put EE Live Q&A in your subject line, you're going to get a request to see if you want to set up a consult. And you may very well want to do that, and that would be wonderful. I'd love to do that. Remember, consults are always paid. And so just to forewarn everyone. Now, as we go forward here, a couple things I want to also explain. As you can see on the Facebook page, there are so many people asking so many questions, and it's just not possible for me personally to answer everybody's questions. But I can see how diligent people are who have had maybe prior experiences dealing with express entry, or who maybe have some unique insight that are jumping on and sharing answers. And they're doing a phenomenal job. And so I want to thank all of you for being involved, for participating, for working together. And let's face it, people are coming to this express entry process with a wide range of knowledge. Some have no clue even what express entry is, other than it's somehow a way to immigrate to Canada. Others of you have been sitting in the pool for a long time, have spent hours and hours reading the immigration website, going on immigration forums, trying to educate themselves, and have developed a lot of knowledge and a lot that they can share. So regardless of where you're coming at this, thank you for being a part of it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If people ask questions that are kind of elementary or simple questions like, I want to immigrate Canada, and their English isn't great, let's not berate them. Let's not give them a hard time. Let's try and point them to the right locations. And one of the things you'll see me do very frequently is to plug this. And I don't offer any excuses for doing it, because I created this for the exact reason for people who know nothing about express entry. Now, lots of people will say, oh, you can go to the IRCC website and all the information is there. I agree. You totally can. The Immigration Canada website, IRCC, that website has tons of information, and you can learn about it. You can read about it. But the difference between that website, where you have to navigate through and really dig to find all the answers you need, I show people exactly how to do it. I refer back to the IRCC website within my instructions. That's the source of policy information. But when it comes to this express entry, the complete step-by-step guide to doing it yourself, it is a video screencast that walks people all the way through from setting up their MyCIC account all the way through to submitting the profile, getting your ITA, submitting your EAPR, and ultimately getting your COPR. Isn't that wonderful? And many of you are wondering, what the heck is he talking about? All these acronyms, what do they mean? It's all in here. So I'll kick that out because this is all about free information and helping you. But for $39 a month, and you can stay in as long as you want, it's a phenomenal deal. And I pour all of my knowledge and information into it. So enough of plugging that, but those who are in the group are going to see it a lot. Anyone who's coming in, I'm going to direct them back to it because I believe in it. And the many, many people who are now subscribing for it, it's actually quite crazy. I want you to get back on the Express Entry Law Facebook page and report back. If it's junk, I want you to tell people it's a waste of money. I know it's not, but there's also an opportunity for me to continually upgrade it, improve it, make it better and better. And I'll tell you a secret. All of the questions that are asked here, when I answer them, I also do the exact same thing within the Express Entry video guide that I created. So, enough of that. But I appreciate everything that everyone's been doing. So let's get to the meat of this Facebook, this private Facebook video here for the exclusive members, the over 16,000 members. Woo! I can't believe that. That's crazy. All right, I think I've covered off all the housekeeping matters. Okay, right off the bat, first thing we're going to address before we get to the questions people sent in are the upcoming changes to Express Entry. And before I jump into that, I also need to let you know about one other thing. Many of you have families. Many of you have children that are getting older, that are reaching the age of adulthood. And in Canada, it's 18. Well, there's going to be a significant change with dependents that is going to be occurring on October the 24th, 2017. That is when the new government regulations are going to come into force that are going to change the age of a dependent child from 18 to under 22. So in other words, right now, if your child is 18, you can include them on your application as a dependent. Once they turn 19, you can't include them anymore. But on October the 24th, 2017, you can actually include any dependent child that is up to 21 years old. Once they turn 22, then they're overage. They're too old to include, and they have to qualify independently. So this may affect some of you who are applying, because this change will only affect applications received on or after October 24th, 2017. So right now, at least based on what we know, if you filed your EAPR application in September of 2017 and you're expecting that you'll just be able to add a dependent on, well, we're going to have to see how that plays out. It may not be as easy as that. So take that into consideration. If you go through the whole process and you land as a permanent resident and you've done all of that and then the age of dependency changes, yes, you will still be able to sponsor that child as a dependent child up until the age of 22. So as long as they're 21, you would be eligible. But you're going to have to go right at the beginning, right at the start, all over again with lengthy processing times. So keep that in mind when you are submitting your Express Entry application, your EAPR, that these changes are going to come and they will affect you. All right, so that's age of dependency. So we're done with that. We'll check that out. All right, let's get to Express Entry. And I know a lot of you are anxious to hear what is happening. And there's been a lot of rumors, so I totally understand, the frenzy, the excitement. And in fairness, you really should be, because the changes are really going to help a lot of you. Just to start off with, I thought I'd give a few statistics. And it's not something that I usually do, but it makes sense. So we've got some recent stats. Since it was launched, Express Entry was launched, there's been over 190,000 people that have submitted profiles into the pool. That's crazy. And since the launch, 85,000 people have been invited to apply. So you can see this is growing. It is becoming extremely popular. And in the first 2 years of Express Entry, over 54,000 people have actually immigrated to Canada through express entry. And you know what, folks? That is just the tip of the iceberg. It is going to increase. Most of those old permanent resident queues have been flushed out, and now Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada are going to be pulling in more and more people to meet their annual levels planning. And right now we know that about 300,000 immigrants are admitted to Canada every year. Well, a sizable portion of those are going to be coming through the skilled worker permanent resident streams, either the federal skilled worker, the Canadian experience class, or the federal skilled trade. Those skilled workers are going to increase in numbers as we go forward here. And what does that mean? Well, I'm going to share some more insight here with you. Okay, so let's jump right now, and I've got my notes here because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Let's jump now to the magical date of June the 6th, 2017, which is not long. It's like, what are we today? We are May the 18th. So we're talking right away, a little over 2 weeks. These changes are going to come into place. Okay, right off the bat, I wonder, anyone who is actually listening to this live, do you speak French? Do you have French language abilities? Does anyone? Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know if anyone here actually speaks French or is fairly fluent in French. I'm just looking at the feed here to see if we get any responses. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see. So right now we have, okay, yeah. So it doesn't look like anyone right now speaks French. But if you do, here's what's going to happen. Oh, Jenny, I got a heart here. I'm not sure. Oh, and Hassan. Sweet. Okay, and Max. Awesome. So we do have some people. Whoa, we got a whole bunch of other messages here. All right, so here's what's going to happen. If you can score at least a level 7 on the NLC, you will be able to get 15 additional points. But this is not averaged. The way we understand it, it's going to have to be at least a level 7 for each factor. Okay? So if you can speak French, and that's your principal language, and you score high on the language assessment, then you're going to get an extra 15 points. And what is the government doing? Well, they're rewarding people that speak French because they want to increase Francophone numbers in Canada. All right. If you speak French at that level, NLC, level 7 in all 4 skills, and you can achieve a skill level 5 on the Canadian language benchmark for English, you're going to get a whopping 30 extra points. So this could be the difference between you qualifying and not. So that's the first change that's going to happen. French language speakers are being rewarded. The second one, okay, this is for all of you who have family in Canada. Now, not just family, but actually siblings. So if you have brothers and sisters, and we're talking first line, blood relative, you got the same mom, you got the same dad, same mother, father, that's what we're talking about. And, pay close attention here, and they reside in Canada, then you can get an extra 15 points for that relationship. And why? It's because the government says, and this is from their official, well, I shouldn't say official, it's from a statement that an immigration officer made. Having a sibling in Canada has been shown to improve health and social outcomes by accelerating a newcomer's integration into their new life in Canada. Well, heck yeah, of course. If you've got family waiting for you, they're going to be here to help you, support you, hook you up with jobs, do all those kinds of things. So it makes perfect sense that they would reward people for having family in Canada. So 15 extra points if you have a sibling that is an adult, I didn't qualify that, residing in Canada, and I also better qualify that they can be a permanent resident or a citizen, which is pretty cool. So they don't have to be a Canadian citizen, they can be a permanent resident. So take that into consideration if your family are all thinking about applying, all right? Okay, And the last one is kind of just a throwaway, but it's something that you need to understand. So this is update number 3. Those of you who do not have a job offer, who are applying through Express Entry, so an arranged employment offer, you folks no longer, as of June the 6th, will have to submit your profile into the job bank database, the useless, stupid job bank. So no longer will candidates have to register on the job bank. It'll be optional, the government says. You'll be able to do it if you choose, but oh my goodness. Maybe I'll just ask another question here, and maybe people won't be able to answer this, but do people know someone, anyone, who has actually received a job offer from placing their profile in the job bank employee registration system? So by registering the job bank, has anyone who's watching this live, and you know what, you can even comment after as you're watching this later after it's recorded. I would love to see if there's people who actually know someone who has received, Humza says, noops, and no, neither have I. And heck, if I don't know someone, I don't know who would. But anyways, I'd love to hear if someone actually connected with an employer. And I'm not talking about cheating where there was another relationship that connected you to them and you just happened to be on the job bank. Yeah, I agree, Max. Complete and total waste of time. So you no longer will have to do that as of June the 6th. All right, I want to share a little bit more information just so that you can see where we are going in the future with Express Entry. So obviously, the scores are starting to drop. And we're seeing that. 415 again, twice. We've seen 415 as the comprehensive ranking score that people have where that pass mark has been set for our last round of invitation, which actually occurred yesterday. And so as the scores drop, guess what that means for all of you? And I know where the vast majority of you guys are. You are overseas. You are relying on your human capital factors, your age, your language ability, your education. All of those things are to your benefit now, because as the point totals start to go down, more and more of you are going to qualify. And the government acknowledges this, and it's interesting too, because as that lowering of the cutoff score happens, more and more people overseas are going to be able to qualify. And as I get into some statistics here, you're going to see how profound this change has been. Those of you who have been following this for a while know in November they made changes to the program, significant changes. If you were an individual prior to the changes in November that had a labor market impact assessed work permit, you were guaranteed. You were absolutely guaranteed to receive an ITA, an invitation to apply for permanent residence. You could have had no education whatsoever. You could have been 65 years old. But if you had at least 1 year of skilled work experience in Canada, you were able to meet the minimum Canadian language benchmark, which for a skill level B was 5. You, coupled with your LMIA-based work permit, were guaranteed permanent residence. And it was totally skewing things. All of you overseas were being, well, I don't like to use the word, but you were being screwed. You were not getting opportunities, even though you were the ones that the government and the country of Canada, you were the ones that we want. But you weren't eligible. You could have a ph.d. and 20 years of skilled work experience, but you couldn't qualify because all of the spots were being eaten up by LMIA-based work permits. So the government has actually been pretty responsive. They decided, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. We have to make a change. We're listening to people. We're understanding that CEOs of publicly traded companies, professionals who are coming in with non-LMIA-based work permits, maybe through the North American Free Trade Agreement or through intercompany transfers from other companies, they couldn't even qualify. And right now I have 3 for one company alone that are now eligible because of the changes. But I don't need to worry about that because all of those changes are now law. I don't need to rehash them all. But you can see that because of that, now there's a greater opportunity for all of you overseas to qualify on your human capital points, the strength of your solid education. Now, there's some interesting things that you're going to see here. Every week, the Express Entry pool accepts over 3,000 new applicants. So yes, the numbers are going up. But as we look at that, the people that are actually making up the invited candidates, because of these changes, once again, 46% of them are international graduates. Okay, so now I want to know, with another thumbs up, how many watching this, and you guys should be watching this because it's 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which means it's still in your range. How many international graduates are following this right now that are in Canada looking to go through Express Entry? Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you are one of those people, because you are the ones that are actually getting tremendous benefit from the changes. And another change that occurred was additional points for Canadian study. Sweet! Woo! We got Vasu, Trinath, Martin, Sandeep, Harleen, Shivali, and I apologize if I butchered your names. You guys can try pronouncing Holthe without me telling you. I guess it's the same. All right. Amrit Pal, Bandiva. Oh, there's a ton. Fantastic. So all of you are now making up almost half of the people that are receiving invitations to apply. Now, understand that's from the time period from November 16th until about February 2017. And as those point totals start to drop, and if I can get my finger in the right place, start to go down, more and more international people with high human capital factors are going to succeed. Look at this. All these thumbs up. Raman, R, Nabil. Fantastic. RK. That's a pretty cool profile picture. All right. Anyways, you're looking a little comic-y, though. All right. Okay, let's get back to this. Now, here's the kicker. Everybody used to just be pleading, find me a job. I need an LMIA. I need a job offer from a Canadian company. Who's going to help me? You know, I heard people offering, to pay $20,000 to get a job offer. Man, did that frustrate me and make me mad, because people were just exploiting people, taking advantage of them. Well, here's the facts, folks. Listen to this. Candidates with that lovely arranged employment now make up 6%. That's 6 right here. 6% of candidates that are granted invitations to apply, they have arranged offers. And do you know what else? 62% of them are people that are on work permits, employer-specific work permits, that do not have ITAs. Do not have LMIAs. They come as intercompany transfers, as NAFTA professionals, some through employer-specific international experience class. And so those are making up 62%. So only, if I can do my math, 38% of the 6% of total applicants are actually coming through because of an LMIA-supported job offer. So understand, those who have high English, high human capital, all of those factors, they're the ones that are going to be rewarded. So, I thought I'd share that with you. Now, probably some people are wondering, well, what are the top NOCs? The National Occupational Classification? What are the most popular occupations? Well, I could go through those, but I'm not going to waste all the time because I do want to get to a few questions that people have sent in. But NOC 0, I think I can put that 0 right here. Hopefully that's not offensive in some countries. It's okay in Canada. It means okay or 0. Anyways, those individuals that are in skill level 0, they are now at the highest level. The top invited occupations are in skill level 0. And actually, do you know what? I'm going to correct that. I apologize. Not just 0, but actually A as well. So professionals, right? And that makes perfect sense. So it's actually NOC A and O. All right. Now, and I won't go through the full breakdown. All right. Now, one other thing I want to share. Because of that, guess which program candidates are really running into problems? It's the trade level people with trade level experience, your welders, your carpenters, them. Because the federal skilled trades program has now decreased to 0.3% from the 10% it used to be. And so you can see most of those trade level individuals were able to qualify because they had an LMIA and they were already working in Canada. So it's down to 0.3% now. And probably that 0.3% is, well, they would probably be here in Canada, but maybe they had other education that allowed them to score higher. But the Federal Skilled Trade Program, well, it's going to be curious to see what the government's doing with it, because with 0.3%, if you're a trade level person, you're really not going to have a lot of luck qualifying. All right, thank you. Those updates are gone. All right, let's get now to the questions that came in. Okay, do you know what? I'm just going to, because you guys have been so faithful, João Fernandes de Alcantara. João, did you know that I lived in Portugal for 2 years? Eu posso falar pouco português, mas já passaram quase 20 anos desde eu estive em Portugal, então eu não posso falar assim tão bem. Well, I don't know, João. Maybe you're actually from Brazil too, but that's cool. I try to use my Portuguese whenever I can. Okay, so Humza asked, what about people working in Canada on open work permit, having a permanent engineering job without LMIA? All right. So here's how this works. For job offers, your work permit has to be employer specific. In other words, if you were on a post-grad work permit, unfortunately, you won't get those extra points for job offers. And I haven't really addressed them, but just in passing, if you're working in a skill level B or A occupation, or even anything that's not a 0-0 knock, like an executive, senior executive level, you can get 50 points for an arranged offer of employment, a job offer. You can get the extra 50 points, but your work permit has to specifically name your employer. And that usually happens through an intercompany transfer or one of the other work permits under the International Mobility Program. But if you're a postgrad, it doesn't work because your work permit's open. If you're a spouse of a foreign student or a foreign temporary worker, temporary foreign worker, you also can't qualify because you're for those arranged employment offers because your work permit is open. So hopefully that answers the question. That's funny. So Brazil. All right. So well, it's close. I'll tell you one day I'll share a story here on how I was supposed to actually go to Brazil, but I had visa issues, and so I ended up going to Portugal. But I'll leave that for another day. Okay, you bet, Hunsa. You got it. All right, let's get to these questions. So the first one here, they came in via email. They followed my instructions. They put EE Live Q&A in their subject line. This is for you guys. All right, so the first is from Satish. I hope this email finds you in good health. I'm pretty good, although today I was doing some training at the YMCA here, and I think I kind of pulled a muscle in my hip. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to listen that you've been on live this Thursday. I'll certainly attend your broadcast. Okay, Satish, are you here? Give me a thumbs up. Are you on live right now? Well, we'll see. You let me know if you're here. Okay. I've worked as a trainee engineer in an MNC for a period of 1 year. Post completion of 1 year therein, I was promoted to a different designation in the same organization. I've got the salary statements and letter of appointments for both the posts I held. Please advise, now here's the question, whether CIC will consider my training period as an experience or not. Okay. So what he's asking, sometimes in occupations we will work a certain period of time as a trainee before we become an official, especially in the professions, whether in this case it's an engineer, an architect, even as a lawyer. Before I was admitted to the Law Society of Alberta as a fully practicing lawyer, I had to go through articles of clerkship. So 1 year working under another lawyer. Well, to answer your question, Satish, it all comes down to your job duties. right? And so the regulations indicate that you must have completed all of the everything within the lead statement in your NOC position profile on the National Occupational Classification System, and that's 2011. Harleen, AINP sucks. Sir, I'm getting distracted now. Oh, I disagree. It may suck a little bit, but it doesn't suck as bad as the OINP. So that's hilarious, Harleen. Well, one day you're going to have to tell us why the AINP sucks so bad. Anyways, probably the processing times and not being able to get your nomination in time to extend your work permit, but we'll leave it at that. Okay, so back on track. You can see how easy it is to get distracted. So when you're a trainee working in a profession, the key is that you are able to show that you or demonstrate that you are working and completing all of the duties in the lead, everything within the lead statement, and a substantial number of the main duties within that occupation profile. So if you're doing that, and you'll see some of the titles even, it will even say, engineer in training. Like if you look on the National Occupational Classification System, it contemplates that people are working as engineers, but they're under the supervision of another engineer. So you should be able to qualify. You should be able to use all of that work experience as long as you were actually performing all of the duties or a substantial number of them. Okay? And so you can take that into consideration. Okay, and then he asks, this is a good one. This is a really good one because your questions help me to figure out new ideas for my Canadian immigration podcast. I haven't figured out how to do a live split screen kind of interview format. I don't have the software to do that yet with the video, but, Harleen, you are still distracting me. They rejected my file based on the new changes made in October 2016 before I replied in February 2016. Yes, the ANP sucks. I agree. They can change anything they want. They can retroactively cull out applications. They can be pretty cruel. If you want to set up a consult with me, maybe there's some things that we can do to resolve it. But, okay, I'm going to now focus back on what I'm talking about here. This question right here that Satish sent me, the second one says, I'm holding one bachelor's degree of 4 years duration and 2 postgraduate diploma degrees, each amounting to 1 year duration. I'm a bit concerned whether Wes will consider my degrees under 2 or more certificates or not. Well, this one is super easy. I have no clue. You are just going to have to submit everything that Wes requires you to do to have the educational credentials assessed. And what they come back with will tell you. Now, because of that question and because I can't really help you, I'm going to really try hard to see if I can get someone from Wes to come and join me and some of the other educational credential assessment agencies to come join me on my Canadian Immigration podcast to talk about the process a little bit and maybe even demystify some of the areas that people are struggling with. So we'll see if they're willing to do that. It would be awesome. But yeah, and then everyone can go to my Canadian Immigration podcast website and just research all the other episodes that I've done. We're on our second season now. But anyways, okay, so there's Satish. Hope you enjoyed those answers. All right, next one. And I think this is one that we've covered before, but it's important for me to go over. So, hello, Mr. Holthe. And this one is from Doctor in Middle East. So I will address you as Doctor in Middle East. Thanks for your podcast. It is full of useful info. See, he's actually listened to the podcast. Very cool. My question is, how long is the police certificate valid? If I make police certificate now, will it be after 2 years? Okay, so here's the rundown, folks. In the past, police clearances needed to be valid for 6 months at the time in which you submitted your application. In fact, in some cases, the various visa offices would say that they needed to be at least no more than 3 months old. Well, for the purposes of your electronic applications for permanent residence, if you're currently living in the country, they need to be valid for 6 months. So if you submit your electronic application for permanent residence and your police clearance is 7 months old at that time, that won't work if it's for the country that you're currently living in. But if you no longer reside in that country, then the police clearance actually remains valid perpetually. So as long as you haven't returned back to that country, that police clearance is still valid. But remember, when you are scanning it to upload into the electronic, uploading it into the Express Entry portal to file your EAPR, you cannot copy a notarized copy of it. So if it's a notarized copy that you have and you try to upload that, it will get rejected. It has to be a copy of the original. So you've got to have that in your hand. Okay? So don't rely on a notarized copy and then you think to yourself, well, it's a copy. It's a copy. What difference does it make? No, it needs to be the original. Make sure you include that with translation, but make sure that the original is included with all of the translation and the notarization by the translator. Okay? So that's pretty much how police clearances roll. So if you've got them, if you're in your current country and you need one from your current country, then it can't be older than 6 months. Anywhere else, if you haven't gone back, then you're okay. If you have returned, then you need a new one. All right? And that's right now the basic instructions. And, sometimes when I'm telling basic things on this video feed, other people may have gotten away with things or their application maybe got through even though they didn't do what I've told them to do. Well, sometimes the government misses things. And then people go around, and this is the thing that drives me crazy on the immigration forums, and I think the Canada Visa site and David Cohen, what he's got going there is phenomenal. It's a great resource for people. But one person will have some experience where they did something and it was good enough for them, and then they'll tell everyone else, hey, I did this, it's totally fine, you don't need to listen, and that's what I run into all the time with people. And it drives me crazy because then 10 people will listen to that one person who got lucky, and then all of their applications will be refused because an officer who actually knows what they're doing is adjudicating their applications. Okay, I think you guys get it. All right. And that, I think, folks, pretty much does it for today. So I know that a lot of you have been, have been posting little messages in the feed. When I get this put up on the as a recording, I'll try to go back and answer some of your questions that you're asking right now. But I want to thank everybody for joining me. Right now, live at this time, there's been a real phenomenal response. I'm actually quite surprised. I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen in. Once again, I'm going to plug, as I always do, those of you who maybe are just catching us and are just joining, I'm going to keep plugging this little thing over and over and over again because I believe in it. And for $39 US a month, it's a monthly subscription. You can stay in as long as you want. You can get out whenever you want to. This is where I show you how. So all of the amazing people on the Express Entry Law Facebook page that respond, that give links back to the IRCC website, that provide answers and tips, they're giving you tons of wonderful information. And it is so helpful, and I appreciate you for doing it. But this here is where I actually show you how to do it. And I'm going to continue to plug this, and so if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But people are coming to me so frequently after they've made mistakes and then hoping that I can fix it. And they're willing to pay my legal fees after when things go wrong because they're desperate. But often there's nothing that I can do. And there's nothing worse than having people come to me and ask me to help and me say, if you'd come to me before, you could have avoided this because it was just a simple little mistake. And I'm totally genuine about this. So I thought to myself, how can I help all these people? How can I give them a resource that they can rely on to help them avoid the common pitfalls, to walk them through like I'm right beside them? It was the creation of this Express Entry do-it-yourself guide. Now, do I want you to hire me as your immigration lawyer? Yeah, absolutely. I would love to act for every single person on this Facebook page, but it's not practical. I know some of you from some countries, to pay me my $5,000 Canadian in legal fees is well beyond your means. Heck, it could be 6 months' salary or something like that. And so I knew that I had to do something different. And I'm not one of those money-grubbing lawyers that is all about just lining my pockets. Heck, yes, I've got a family. I've got a beautiful wife and 4 children. I've got a daughter in university down in the U.S., paying high tuition fees, just like some of you postgrad students here in Canada. And I've got a son who's getting ready to graduate. In fact, we just had his graduation ceremony just a week ago. And so, yeah, I need to earn a living for sure. But I understand that some of you simply can't afford my legal fees, and so this is why I created this. So $39 US. I'll put a link to it in the comments. Those who have signed up for it, I want your feedback. If there's things that you don't like about it, I'll change them. I'll fix them. If there are suggestions you have for the Q&A session, other things, I'll add them. But please, whatever you do, people, don't just discount it as this lawyer trying to line his pockets, because I put so much time into it. It would be just... Well, I already know people are subscribing to it, and it's unbelievable at the rate they are. But I just want you to understand that this is available for people. In addition to the wonderful information that's on the IRCC website, those instructions are all there. It's great. But for some people, they just need a little extra help. And as always, you can book a consult with me. One person sent me a wonderful email tonight indicating that our landing page, and I'll put this up here, the wonderful marketing people in my new firm here created this special for me because they were getting inundated with immigration inquiries. And so I said, well, let's create a special place for people to go. Well, there's a glitch in it. I tested it tonight. And so I will put up, hopefully we'll get it fixed by tomorrow, but in the comment section, boy, this is hard, below, I will put the link where you can go here to book a consult with me. And so, all right, I've done enough plugging. I want to express appreciation once again for all that you guys do, for the support that I have of this little initiative. Obviously, after I've done a day's work, I stay here and I do this for you. I hope it's useful. Justin, one of the guys that's helping me to expand this out to as many locations as possible, is spinning it out to our YouTube channel. And so you can watch it there. And I'm also going to strip it off and post all of these on my new Express Entry Law podcast. And so those of you who are traveling will be able to listen to this as you're traveling, and maybe as you're going to work in the morning or something like that, and you've got a long commute, you'll be able to listen to it. Because you don't always need to see this ugly face. But anyways, thanks so much, everyone. I appreciate so much you being here. And... have a wonderful, wonderful evening, a wonderful morning, a wonderful afternoon, wherever you are. Take care, everyone.